Diplomatic tensions rise as all three Baltic states recall their ambassadors from Moscow and order their Russian counterparts to leave. The UN is worried a decline in reported cases of human trafficking may be masking the real extent of the problem.
Heavy snowfall and disruption hit parts of Europe, with Majorca seeing its heaviest snowfall recorded in 5 years.
Diplomatic tensions are increasing over Ukraine between Russia and the Baltic states, where all three have announced they're recalling their ambassadors from Moscow. They're also expelling Russian ambassadors from their own countries. Russia's ambassador to Latvia says he's been told to leave Riga a day before the first anniversary of the invasion.
We're
leaving. Latvia is reducing the level of diplomatic relations between our countries. I have to leave the country by February 23rd. That's all. Latvia's decision follows similar announcements from Lithuania and Estonia over Russia's aggression in Ukraine. Moscow accuses the Estonian leadership of being Russophobic and has asked Estonia's ambassador to leave Moscow by February the 7th. Meanwhile, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has met with his counterpart in Pretoria, South Africa, a visit that sparked criticism against the backdrop of the war. South Africa insists it remains neutral over the conflict, but its main opposition, Democratic Alliance Party, accuses the ruling party, the African National Congress, of sliding towards support for Russia. However, South Africa's Foreign Minister, Naledi Pandor, has urged a diplomatic solution to the conflict.
The heaviest snowfall recorded in Majorca in the last 5 years fell on Monday. That's according to experts who say the coldest temperatures were recorded in the early hours of the morning in the Tramontana Mountains at -2.4 degrees Celsius. The Palmer Met Office says as much as 10 centimetres of snow will fall on Wednesday, and it's forecast to fall on lower ground as well. Over in Italy, several regions have been put on an extreme weather alert, with a wave of freezing conditions, heavy snow and powerful winds hitting the country. The Marche region and parts of Emilia-Romagna in the north of the country are on orange alert, meaning that the weather poses a danger to people and property. A snowstorm hampered traffic on a key highway in Slovenia and left parts of the country temporarily without electricity. In Croatia, snow and strong winds also caused traffic problems on the Adriatic coast and in the mountains. The bad weather left many islands cut off from the mainland. And in Austria's Carinthia, heavy snow caused power outages, closed roads and shut schools. Around 5,000 households were left without electricity, and 250 fire brigades were called out in the area. While the risk of avalanche is heightened, the increased snow means the winter season for skiers should be secured until Easter. This huge iceberg, measuring 1,550 metres square, that's almost the size of Greater London, has broken off from the Antarctica Brunt ice shelf. Cracks in the 150-metre thick ice have been developing over several years, and the final break happened on Sunday evening during a spring tide. The British Antarctic Survey say this is a natural and normal process and won't add to the sea level rise. The floating lump of ice will be named by the US National Ice Centre. New Zealand's outgoing Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern insists she's grateful for her time in office, despite a barrage of negative comments in the wake of her shock resignation. She wore a traditional Maori cloak on her last official appearance as Prime Minister in Ratana, near Whanganui.
I've experienced such love, compassion, empathy and kindness when I've been in this job. That has been my predominant experience. So I leave feeling gratitude for having this wonderful role for so many years.
At least 7 more people have been killed in another mass shooting incident in California. Officials said they died in related attacks on workers at 2 agricultural facilities in the coastal community of Half Moon Bay, south of San Francisco. Police in San Mateo County say they arrested 67-year-old Chun Li Zhao, who they suspect of carrying out the killings at both sites. They said a weapon was found in his vehicle and they believe he acted alone. One of the 10 people injured in a mass shooting at a dance studio in Monterey Park in California at the weekend has died, bringing the number of dead to 11. As police continue with their investigation, they say they've discovered items of interest after a search of the 72-year-old suspect's residence.
Good afternoon, everybody. We recovered one .308 caliber rifle, numerous electronic devices such as cell phones, computers, etc. Items that lead us to believe the suspect was manufacturing homemade firearm suppressors. From the Monterey Park scene, where the victims were assassinated, investigators recovered a total of 42 shell casings and a large capacity magazine.
It's still unclear exactly what Hucan Tran's motive was for the killings, but California Governor Gavin Newsom said America is not dealing with the issue of guns.
But respectfully, I will submit that regardless of the challenges as it relates to behavioral health, there's not a country in the world that doesn't experience behavioral health issues. Not unique to the United States, quite the contrary. What's unique is these large capacity magazine clips that will take down every single one of you in a matter of seconds. These just weapons of pure mass destruction. And the fact that that is not being addressed in this country is comical. It's disgraceful. It's offensive to the senses, to common sense, to dignity.
And on Tuesday, reports were coming in of another shooting in the state, this time in Mateo County. Local media were reporting 7 deaths. The UN is concerned that the pandemic may have helped to mask the extent of human trafficking. Registered cases of the crime dropped significantly during the health crisis, but experts in the field think it could be that such crimes as trafficking, prostitution and forced labour are moving deeper underground to avoid prosecution.
There was an explosion of online sexual exploitation, and a number of countries, basically, their justice and police system simply stopped working during the pandemic. They had to divert resources to other purposes to maintain public health.
11% fewer worldwide cases of human trafficking were detected in 2020 compared to the previous year. The differences between rich and poor regions are also stark. While the numbers were halved in East Asia and North Africa, they rose in Europe and North America, where, according to the UN, more investigators and resources were available. The UN's concerned that the decline in the number of detected cases for the first time in 20 years may become the norm. They say it doesn't mean it's not happening, it's just getting more difficult to uncover. During the pandemic, traffickers took advantage of the crisis to expand their criminal structures undetected.
The numbers have decreased so significantly that if we ever want to have real chances in eradicating this crime, we have to think differently.
Our correspondent says that the UN believes countries have to beat traffickers at their own game, given that the crime is increasingly carried out via the internet. Investigators should also take more action online, with the hope that in the future, fewer registered cases will also mean fewer actual cases.
The Berlinale is back. The organisers of the Berlin International Film Festival have announced the lineup of this year's awards. 18 entries will be in the running for the Golden and Silver Bears, while 15 films will be screened as world premieres. Berlinale artistic director Carlo Chatrian says this year's pictures reflect real life.
I thought about the general feeling that this selection have, and one of the stronger element is that we invited many films that have a very strong connection with reality. We can call them documentary or fiction. But in both, the reality is very much present. And this is very important nowadays.
US actress Kristen Stewart will be bringing the Hollywood glamour as president of the international jury. Director and Oscar winner Steven Spielberg is also expected to attend. He is to be honoured in Berlin for his life's work. Other highlights include Ta with Cate Blanchett, playing the first woman at the helm of a major German orchestra. And Hollywood star Sean Penn will present his documentary film on Ukraine. After 2 exceptional years, once again the Berlinale will take place without pandemic restrictions.